Hello, my name is Cody. Welcome back to the Dream Saga. We are kind of talking about the same old, but going into a different side here. Today, I wanted to talk about retro consoles and the restoration and upkeep. It's a hobby I have. I've been doing for a couple of years. I love doing it. It is just a fun thing for me to do. So, we will talk quite a bit about that and what you need, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, at least all the things that I do and don't do. First off, I just want to say, if you're watching the vidcast, I have a Dream Saga jersey. I love wearing overshirts. I never had a jersey before. I do look up quite a bit to Kevin Smith, so that did kind of teeter over to that side, as nerdy as that is. And that's kind of where this all happened. So, that's it, yeah. There's nothing right now. I don't know if I'll have, merch or anything like that. That's in the future. Well, if I do put it up, I don't expect anybody to buy anything for at least a while. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. Retro consoles. I have with me right now a Dreamcast. I have it in my hands right now if you're not watching the vidcast. It is one I've had for many, many years. I have not restored it. Some of the buttons stick. It's kind of grimy. It looks like somebody dripped soda on it. And I just hit the microphone with it. So it's not in great shape. So the one thing I definitely want to do is have some sort of monthly video that goes up on me restoring these guys. I love retro consoles. I think, this was back when we had good limitations on software. Like, there was a competitive nature that I just don't see anymore. Because back then we had Sega, Nintendo, what was the other ones? We had Sega, Nintendo, Sony. Xbox wasn't even there yet. Sony had just entered, around the Dreamcast side a few years before. But, we had Atari, we had Philips, had entered the world a little bit. You had consoles like the Jaguar and the just all these other consoles. And I feel like there was a lot of competition. Now you have two home consoles that still, do quite a bit of numbers. You have Nintendo that's just kind of vanishing, which they started all of it. Like, the Nintendo Entertainment System was there. That's what sparked all this. And anyway, you just had all these different consoles and things like that. And I love the games. I love the hardware. I love how they're built. And so I do want to have some sort of restoration video out there. The one thing that I always recommend is having some sort of ESD or anti-static mat or bags to put stuff in, especially motherboards. Anything inside of these guys needs to be protected from static. You will destroy anything electronic-wise. That's the one thing I always have. I have an ESD mat. Anytime I ever pull one of these things apart, I'm always grounded, and I'm always protected from static. Always make sure it's unplugged. You could always unplug it for a while and let it sit there, let everything just kind of drain out of it, and then work into it if you're afraid of being shocked. So I'm a little burpy today, so I'm trying not to. These old consoles are fragile. A lot of the plastics are starting to dry out and become very brittle. A lot of them become very yellow over the years because it's slowly drying out, which is something you can reverse, which is kind of odd to say, but you can reverse that. If you take the base of it, if you could take it all apart, and actually get a giant thing of peroxide. Now, you can get just like regular store-bought peroxide. If you get something, more condensed like food-grade peroxide, I'm sure that'll work a whole lot better. But this stuff's super cheap. If you need to make it more peroxide-y, you can always get OxyClean and throw it in there as well. You kind of mix it up, make sure it's all nice and dissolved. You get a big clear bucket, fill the thing up, and then soak your components. Not the electronics, but the plastics themselves. Make sure they're clean first. Like, regular just warm water and soap. And then take it out on a nice sunny day, put it out in the sun. I would say to make sure it's even, and plus with the sun moving, I would rotate them, because you're going to want to do this for a couple hours. Rotate it every, I'd say, hour, or half hour to an hour. And eventually you're going to pick something up that has had its chemical degrading go away. It's reversed that, or at least it's brought back that original luster, and it's not so fragile, it's not so brittle, and also looks genuine, like it looks brand new. I have the Dreamcast that I use for any of my streaming, which I haven't done anything yet, and I'll explain that in a minute. I did that. It was really yellowed on the backside from sitting in a window for so many years, and took it apart, just stripped it down to the bare plastic, the bottom, the top. I separated the door, like everything was taken apart. I put the other stuff in some anti-static bags because I knew this was going to be a while, and I didn't want like my cat or my dog jumping up on the table and touching everything. Went outside, dunked everything, and I took the controller with me, took that completely apart, dunked that plastic as well. Now the shading is just a hair off, but it's back to that original gray. It's back to the brand new, like this was just produced look. And when you have an older console, that is the best look possible. You will see, I would say, a good 60-70% of the Super Nintendos out on the market with that really deep, at least the older versions. They did resolve that in later versions. They pulled the it was like a fire, it was something that it wouldn't burst into flames. It was to keep it cool, or something along those lines. But it was something they added into the plastic that caused this, which UV light did that. And it got worse if you sat it out in the sun. And this reverses that. I would say, even then, most of the older ones are all super yellowed, and they're very brittle, and you have to be very, very careful. And so we've got, I've got a bunch of these that I'm actually pulling apart. The black plastic consoles, you don't need to do that. At least you can't tell. You can do it. I don't know. I have not tried it on, say, a Sega Saturn or a Sega Genesis. Those are the only consoles that, besides, the original Xbox, that I have, opened up and cleaned. So I'm not totally sure what the process is there. They have never been brittle. They've never cracked. They're all still very malleable. And so it's going to be interesting to try that. I don't think it's going to do any difference, just because it's a different type of plastic, or it is a different compound where that might not be an issue. So yeah, that is definitely something I want to pursue for the Dream Saga. We just recently hit 100 subscribers, which is... it's humbling because I didn't think we would get 10 subscribers. Truly, it didn't. A lot of my effort goes towards the podcasts, and, the streaming, I did lack some conviction behind, just because I did fall behind. I had a lot of internet issues, and just a lot of stuff kind of fell apart. My current my Nintendo Entertainment System, I ordered a new 72-pin connector for it just in case. I don't think that's what's the problem. I'm pretty sure that what they call it, the Matrix or something along those lines. Basically, it shows pretty garbled black and white video, and it will not connect to the Elgato for me to stream anything, so I have to use my Super Nintendo. Oh no. So I'm trying to figure that out. I did take that one apart and clean it as best I can. It's over 30 years old by now, or at least 30. And so this thing it's old. Something was bound to break. So that's kind of where I'm at with that guy. The streaming, like I was saying about the Dreamcast, I haven't done any recently. I am waiting for the S-Video adapter for the Elgato, because the red, white, and yellow cables, they're just not cutting it. It does not produce a solid picture for me to stream. Any of the consoles that I have, when I did the Sega Saturn stuff, it didn't look as good as I wanted it to, because I took the Dreamcast, because I was like, oh yeah, I'll totally do like Crazy Taxi or something else. Probably not Crazy Taxi, because I don't want to get hit with copyright music stuff. But I plugged it in, and I have S-Video on my TV, sorry. And it looked brilliant. I was like, sweet. It's clear, you can read everything. Perfect. I don't have the S-Video adapter right now, so it's like, I'll just plug it in to the normal composite cables. That was a terrible idea. I called off the stream. I was like, no, I'm not doing it. So I plugged in a different console and did Super Mario World for the Super Nintendo, which within like a minute of it publishing, Nintendo hit me with 2 strikes against that video for one song and their visual property, which they're like, we're not going to do anything, we're just going to monetize it, you can't. It's like, alright, I wasn't making any money anyway, so it's not an issue. But it was just like, dang, calm down. I have another channel that I posted up, like Wii U, like Mario Kart stuff, never been touched. But I get it. They put a lot of work into that. That's their own characters. Like, I get you. I just feel like you should calm down a bit. Anyway, so I'm waiting for all of those adapters. I have the S-Video coming in for the Sega Saturn. That should be in by the weekend. I have the rest of the adapters coming in probably Thursday or Friday. The other thing is I ordered new cables for the original Xbox. I have quite a few games I want to play for the original Xbox, which for some reason I lost my power cable to it. No idea where that is. I have everything kind of put in a box in the closet here with all my games and stuff like that, which I've recently taken out and put them on the shelf, which is, trying to get everything out. But I couldn't find the power cable, so I had to order a new one. And for like $1 more, it was like the component cables, which is right next to S-Video. They're very similar, strictly because S-Video has 2 channels of video, and it does sound separately instead of just the 1 channel for composite. Component has those 3 and the 2 audio for left to right, and then the other one. So you get really clear picture. It's not high definition. It's not going to be anywhere close. At max 720, which in some cases would be considered high definition HD. But yeah, that's kind of where I am at on some of my streaming stuff. I have some of the games here that I have either played or plan on playing, which one was Earthworm Jim, which is a lot of fun. Shadowrun, Castlevania, and Star Fox. Sorry. I had to look. I was like, what games did I put up there? Totally blanked. But those are some of the games that I want to play soon. I've got a ton of stuff for the Dreamcast that I want to play. And so there's a lot of games that I have not gotten a chance to play yet. If I could put up the list of games that I own, it's not very big, but it's big enough. It's big enough to give me a lot of content for a long time, and I'm very excited about that. Pretty soon my Fallout stream will be switching over to the Far Harbor expansion, DLC, whatever you want to call it. So that's a lot of fun. I haven't played that yet, so the character, Sam Squanch, that I am currently running through, will have a fresh, open mind when it comes down to it. Because with Fallout, I played it on this. He's my fourth character. I've played it a lot, and I love that game, and I can't wait to play Far Harbor. I haven't gotten the Mechanist yet, which I probably should do before go to Far Harbor, because I'll get quite a bit more gear and a better robot companion, which would be pretty awesome. Not saying Dogmeat isn't awesome. It would be kind of cool to have like a super awesome Codsworth. Or Cogsworth? Codsworth? I think it's Codsworth. I don't ever roam with Codsworth. Excuse me. I was about to sneeze. Anyway, sorry. Along top of that, I'm going to be releasing, restoration videos for my old retro consoles and how to bring the luster back to those. Any sort of repairs I can do, or any sort of like, hey, if you have this, you can do this kind of stuff. So look forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. I'm trying to increase the amount of pre-recorded edited content on the YouTube channel. But then the one thing that will not be going on the YouTube channel, maybe just bloopers, will be my short stories brought to life. We are in the final stages before we could start recording, and I am super excited. I can't talk about it a lot, not right now. Once we get everything going, we definitely will. But I am super stoked. The other thing that I'm working on, this is kind of like an update podcast, and we'll talk a little bit more about retro games here in a few minutes. But the other thing I'm working on is a channel trailer for YouTube. It's a very YouTube-heavy episode. Sorry, guys. But we are doing a channel trailer. It's not something that I have done in the past with my past YouTube channel, but this is something a little bit more serious, where there's a little more content going up, and so I don't need to, but I really want to express that in a different way. That way I have one generalized video that kind of showcases everything in a very small space. And so I'm working on that. The St. Louis aspect of everything is still getting all the ripples worked out. I have some locations in mind that I want to go. One being I want to go back to the Science Center and explore everything there. I think I will try to go on First Friday, which is just always fun. They always do some crazy event, unless I already missed it. If I missed it, not a problem. I want to go, so let's see, Science Center, City Museum, go back to the Arch, and these will all be very kind of vlog type videos that go up, but there will also be interviews kind of interworked, and those will be featured on the podcast side of things. So I'm trying to separate and combine everything so you're not getting the same thing on one side than the other, because there's a lot of more visuals that I think certain people like, and there's also a talking side where people would much rather listen to everything, and that is where I'm trying to make sure that I cater to a little bit, where people, if you don't want to, do certain things, you don't have to. I'm not going to force you to be like, hey, you have to go see this on this website. You can do whatever you want. I have the Vidcast is the same recording vocally as the podcast. There's no difference, except there is a visual component to it. So I can kind of show and express a few more things. But then also the audio adventures that we're going to be doing, that's only going to be on one platform. There will be bloopers on the YouTube page, but the whole Dream Saga thing, my whole little studio here was all created around that. So I don't want to, there's no video component that I want to do for my audio adventure. Well, it's not my audio adventure, it's my audio adventure series. And so, the first one that we have coming was written, by a very talented individual, and I look forward to working with him and all that fun stuff. These podcasts, I can't really get a good vibe on how long people want them to be. I don't get a whole lot of feedback, and so I would love some feedback. What is something, that you want me to talk about? Is there something that may turn you off of the podcast? Like, what things don't you like? And what things do you like? Do you like my voice? Do you think it's too loud? Do you think I need to change this or that? So let me know. This was kind of a fun update video / podcast. There will be some more stuff coming up with more guests and just a lot more interaction. So I really appreciate it. Thanks everybody for coming by. I'm actually going to end it here. There's not a whole lot else that I have planned, which is kind of like, hey, this is what I think. I would like to do. I'd love to hear some feedback. So make sure you follow us on Spreaker or subscribe on iTunes or the Google Play Store. I have shown that we're there. And then head over to YouTube, subscribe to these videos. I have weekly, near daily streams of either Fallout or some retro game, which will be held up with some restoration videos here soon. So thank you so much. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. My name is Cody. Thanks so much. Have a wonderful night. I'm saying that way too often. I'm awkward. See you later. Bye.
As